Welcome back to Tip TV. My name's Charlie Burton, and today I'm interviewing an independent trader, Dale Peters. Dale, welcome to the show.
Morning, thank you for having me.
Great having you on the show. Thanks for coming on the show, but let's start off asking, how did you get started in trading? What stoked your interest in the financial markets? Are you mad?
Well, I think my wife has thought that I am from time to time. But what really kicked it off was I read a book, I think it was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which talked about wealth creation and financial
Oh, that
management.
old favourite, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yes, I'm almost...
just about everyone in the city's probably read that at some point or other.
Good, then I'm in good company. And at the time, I had a business, I had some property, and the one piece of that puzzle that was missing seemed to be trading. So it really piqued my interest about what could I do with trading the stock market, and that's what spurred me on to do some research.
Right, okay. And so you read that book, you did some research. How did you actually then get involved in trading itself? What did you do? What steps did you take?
Well, I'm the kind of person who likes to take advice rather than just sort of jump in both feet. So I did some research, found some courses, and I went on a 2-day course to give me a grounding in what trading was all about, because I literally knew nothing about the stock market or how it worked. So that was my first step, was to take a course.
Okay, and then, so you went on a course. Did you learn a lot? Was it good? Was it bad? What did you have to do after that?
Well, I learned a lot because I knew nothing to start with. I think in general it was very good. It gave me a good grounding. But it made me realise how little I really knew. So from there I started to read lots of books. So I probably read 20 or 30 books on the subject. Right. And then as a follow-on from that course, I went along to an event run by Ezee Trader, actually. And like the
so glad you said that, Dale.
Yes, I'm sure you are. Who knew?
Yeah.
And so I went along to a follow-up course that I think gave a real sense of realism to it. So there was no hype. It was very clear what you could and could not expect to achieve, and that gave me sort of further impetus to really get started with it, having just read about it and just done a course to begin with. Okay,
so we took you under our wings, I guess, all those years ago. It's probably quite a few, 8 years.
8 years or so, yeah.
Right, okay. And obviously you've had to find your own way and find your own style. So what difficulties did you find in those early years? Like so many traders do have various difficulties which are personal to them. What were yours?
Well, it was a surprise to me that it was difficult, if I'm honest, because with an engineering background, I thought, well, trading is a list of rules, follow the rules, make money. How hard could it be? And it turns out it's a lot harder than that. And what I discovered is that my own personality or psychology typically got in the way.
Yep.
I'm quite an impatient person. I can be quite impetuous. So when I first started day trading, sitting and watching the market for a long time generally led me to do things that were not good for my health or my wealth, as it were, just almost out of boredom. So the biggest challenge for me throughout has actually been my own personality.
So you found that you were more gambling, were you, when you were trying to day trade? It was just too much for your personality?
Yes, I think it felt like being on my own in front of the biggest casino or slot machine in the world, with nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. And so I did everything I should and should not do.
It's so empowering, isn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic.
And do you remember, I better not name the broker because I might get into trouble from naming the broker, but do you remember that one broker years ago who used to have flashing green and red lights all over the place?
I loved that. I love that. The more lights, the better. And it just sort of drew me in, really. And but I discovered that my impatience and my keenness to be in the market all the time really wasn't doing me any great favours.
Okay, so how would you describe your trading now?
So after a number of years of experimenting with various strategies, so I've also sought out the Holy Grail. I've tried every strategy and pattern known to man. Mm-hmm. What I discovered was that longer time frames suit me better.
Yep.
I don't need to be as accurate with my trading as I do if I were trading off, say, a 5-minute time frame. I can take more time to analyze what's going on before I get into the market, and it doesn't mean that I spend all of my time worrying about whether I'm missing out, because that was another thing that I struggled with, the fear of missing out.
So you can be a lot more patient now.
Yes.
You don't feel that pressure to be involved when you're sat in front of, like you say, your screen and everything's flashing away. So patience is, I guess, is a big thing for you. So how many trades on average per month would you now take? I know it will vary from month to month, month, but
Sure.
is there a few a week, or is it?
Yeah, I typically trade off the 4-hour and the daily time frames, and the 2 or 3, because that was another mistake I made. I had probably 20 strategies that I was trying to trade at once. So I have 2 or 3 now, typically 2 to 3 trades a week maximum.
Yep.
So maybe 10 a month.
Right,
and that's
perfect.
working out a lot better
Nice
for
and
me.
steady and Eddie.
Yeah.
And actually, you're now in the process of automating your trading. Is that right?
Yes. So one of the day trades in particular lends itself very well to being automated. And one of the frustrations that I continue to have is I have a business as well, so I can't always check things when I want to, is because it was so easily automated. It means that I can not miss out when I'm not around to check it myself.
Yep.
So I'm in the process of having the code written to automate that particular day trade.
Perfect. Can you give it to the whole audience once we're finished?
Absolutely. I'll give you my website and you can order it directly from there.
He's joking.
I am joking.
There is no website. He's a true independent
Absolutely.
trader, just trading for yourself.
Absolutely.
So there's no agenda with you or anything like that in that regard, so to speak.
No, and I trade as much because I really enjoy the process of it, the learning. I've learned a lot about myself along the 8 years or so that I've been doing it. So I do it much more for me. My business is entirely different to that.
And okay, so how you have your own business, a normal business, completely separate from trading.
Yeah.
And on the side, or I say on the side, that's your full-time job almost.
Yes,
really.
it is.
Not that it was intended, but
No.
in this regard. But you're just very good at what you do, and so people come to you for advice and for your consultancy. How important do you think it is to have a separate source of income as a trader?
Personally, I found it to be a real blessing. When I started trading sort of properly 6 or 7 years ago, I tried to do it full time all the time. That was my sole source of income. And I found what that did was compound my own fears and the problems I had with my personality. It made me feel more compelled to trade because that was a sole source of income.
Yep.
So actually adding in another source of income that worked around it took the pressure off the trading completely. So then I could be much more relaxed about it. I didn't have to hunt down trades or find trades to be in, and I could be more relaxed and more calm. And then I also didn't make so many mistakes when I was in a trade.
I think it's the best piece of advice most traders or people that get into trading can actually take, is make sure you have another source of income, because like you said, it takes that pressure away from you.
It really
People
does.
just put too much pressure on themselves, and then all those other mistakes of over trading and everything else come along. So talking of which, talking of newer traders, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to someone who's starting out in trading today?
So based on my experience, I would say find someone you can trust to give you a good grounding, a good education, and use that to make sure you don't underestimate the difficulties. It's not easy. I think you've said to me in the past, it's simple, but it's not easy. Read a lot. You can learn a lot from reading books. There's a lot of good ones out there. And then start trading with real money. I'm the best demo account trader in the world. I've made countless fortunes with them, but the only way you really know how you're going to perform is to use real money. Even if it's really small amounts of money, I would recommend that you do it for real.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, Dale, I know that we're very similar in that you're really hot on your diet and things like this. So just the last question for you. I know you're really into your diet.
Right.
How many pizzas a week are you eating currently?
I've cut right back to about 8 to 10.
Oh, brilliant. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Dale, thanks ever so much for coming on the show. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We could have done 15, 20 minutes, no problem whatsoever. But thanks ever so much for coming on.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.
My name's Charlie Burton. Trade safely out there. We'll be back after the break.